Welcome to the Eyal Money Mehaber show. We are back today with the king of, I don't want to say king of media, but let's say king of social media. This gentleman, Mr. Omer Labock, very good when it comes to social media. We are very proud of you. And I see that you have 5 million likes, 10 million likes. What motivated you to get into social media?
Yeah, well, first, thank you for having me. And so I moved out to New York City. That's kind of like where I work. I moved out almost 2.5 years ago. And I mean, I started off as a real estate agent, just very normal like story. Just try to run around New York and try to close deals, rent apartments, stuff like that. And for most of the people who know, getting into the real estate sales business is very tough. And you usually don't expect it to be as tough as it is.
But you never give up. You never stay with it.
100%. So yeah, I mean, I started off, it was very slow, very, very slow, was not making any money. And I was like, okay, like I have to figure something out, somehow expand my business, meet more people, like something to like get my network to expand.
Got it.
So I was like, you know what, let me just try to post on social media. Obviously, like at first I was like, it's cringy. It's like, I don't want to put myself out there like that. But I was like, you know what, if I want to stay in New York, like I have to figure something out. So I just started posting.
And how do you stay current with the content trend so it doesn't drop?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I consume a lot of TikTok or Instagram and like these social media, so I know what the new trends are, but I don't really incorporate them in my videos too often. I kind of just try to stick to like what I'm like good at with the videos that work already. So that way, I mean, it's a much I don't have to worry about like what trends are going on now as much.
Can you share one good story that really memorial story that really sticking out? A good story.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the first video that I posted that ever went like viral was on TikTok. And I remember this was probably, I want to say like a week before I started posting. So I maybe had like 6-7 videos on my account at that point. And I was like, you know what? Because I remember seeing an apartment probably like 2 weeks before. And I remember like it was weird. Like you walk in, first of all, there's no bathroom, like there's no toilet in the apartment. It's like in New York,
thinking, how do people live, right?
Yeah, in New York, I mean they have buildings called SROs. It's like shared rooming buildings. So it's like it'll be like one bathroom shared between like 5 apartments.
But good location. Like
the location's great. It was in the Upper East Side, like perfect location. But yeah, I mean the apartment itself had a shower and a sink, but no toilet. The toilet was shared between like 4 different apartments.
I assume it's not for family.
Definitely not for family. The apartment's a 1-bedroom. And I just remember seeing it and I was like, you know what? Like maybe that'll be interesting. I'll film it. And actually I had a flight that same day. I was flying back here to Florida. And I was like, you know what? Let me run over there real quick because I live like not too far. And I'll film it, post it, and just see what happens. Maybe someone will be interested in it. I posted it. And at first, it didn't really get that many views. And then I flew back to Florida and then I wake up the next morning and I check my phone and the video has like 6,000 views. And obviously like 6,000 is like not that many views, but compared to like what I was getting before, I was like, so I was getting 50 views, 30 views. So to see 6,000, I was like, oh my God, like that's like so many views. And then I go to brush my teeth and I refresh it again and it's at 10,000. I'm like, what? Like, and I refresh it again, 12,000, 20,000.
Mistake.
100%.
That's what you're thinking, right?
Yeah. Like, I was like, yeah, like, is this real? Like 25,000. Like I went out with my family, we went to eat. I'm like refreshing it at 50,000, 80,000, 100,000.
Crazy.
By the end of the day, it was at like 500,000.
It went viral.
My email is blowing up. My phone is absolutely like, I can't my TikTok app is like the amount of comments and stuff that are on the video. It's like insane. Like I've never seen something like that. Like the amount of notifications.
Right.
And yeah. And then within like 2 days, it had like 2 million views. And I was like, okay, like that's it. Like I'm going to post every day.
What kind of tip would you give to someone want to get started?
Yeah. So, I mean, what I would say is that people usually have like the wrong idea when they start posting on specifically TikTok and like Instagram. I would say like if you're going to start out, first understand that it's not going to happen right away for most people. And if you post something, the algorithm is it's very clear in like what it wants. So if you post a video and it gets like no views, like how I was posting and it got like 50, 30 views or whatever, you know that video is not like that, whatever format or style you're using in that video just clearly like doesn't work and you should try something else. So you keep trying new things until, obviously that sounds cliche, but like that's what you have to do if you're in real estate, if you're in food, if you're in finance, if whatever it is, like try different formats until something works, even if it gets 1,000 views or 10,000 views.
And how do you leverage your social media to say get more clients for that matter?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, like obviously I'm a real estate agent, and I'm very like clearly a real estate agent in my videos. So like whatever you're posting, like make sure that it's very clear what you're doing. So then that way, if someone comes across your video and they might want to use your product or service, then they know, okay, he's the guy that I like. I watch his videos, I trust him, so I'll reach out. So I mean, if like for me, like my videos are all about apartments. So if someone's looking for an apartment, they know how to think.
Speaking of which, how did you get involved? Why apartment? Why not office building? Why not retail? Why not condo conversion? There's so much the real estate, right? So much in it that you don't know what What do you pick and why apartments?
Right. So I mean, I work for Douglas Elliman, very like well known brokerage, especially in New York. And I mean, I work on a team, and the team is mainly focused on residential. And the thing is, in New York, the good thing about being in residential in New York is that there's just so many apartments that you could just like film. Like if I was doing real estate in Florida and it's houses, it's much less efficient, I would say, because I would have to drive around, look at a bunch of different houses. It takes much more time. And meanwhile in New York, I can go to one building and have 5, 6, 7 different apartments in one building that I can film or advertise.
Right.
So it just makes sense. It was very, very efficient.
So can you walk us through how do you use the social media to enhance your listing?
Yeah. I mean, any listing that my team or that I can get my hands on, just because now at this point, like I've established a pretty like significant following on social media. So that's my first like point of attack for marketing. I'll just like post it just like how I post all my other videos, and try to get traction going on from.
And what strategies do you find most fit for audience? Like what do you think the audience like the most to see?
So I think that
in a perfect world,
I think in a perfect world, if I could just find a building with tiny apartments in it, I would just film in there all day long. People love to see the tiny apartments.
So here's the $1 million question. How do you balance your day-to-day work in real estate and your social media?
So that's actually a question I get a lot. And I'll be honest, there's nothing to really balance because it's all kind of infused together. And like I'm at a point where like my real estate relies on my social media and my social media relies on the real estate. So it kind of just
comes together.
It all comes, it's like a perfect like puzzle. Cause like for me, like the more I post videos, like the more I can sell real estate or
right. Wow, interesting. What kind of challenges did you face originally in the beginning when you first got started in real estate?
I mean, in the beginning,
for that matter.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell you just so clearly, like, getting clients wasn't the hardest part because obviously like I work for a big company, so we have a big like marketing budget, so they help us find leads and stuff, but it's getting leads that are qualified and that actually end up, let's say if I'm renting, signing the lease. And the thing is, New York is such a competitive market, and everything is so expensive that people just feel like they can always find a better deal somewhere else. So I'll have a client, I'll get them approved by the landlord to rent the apartment, and they just won't sign the lease. So that was like the biggest thing. And I remember there was maybe 7 or 8 deals in a row where I would get it was 7, 8 different people. I would get them approved and they just never sign a lease and they just disappear. So obviously what I think happened is they probably looked around with a bunch of different agents, applied, and I just didn't get lucky to.
Is there any image that you develop in the social media platform?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I started posting, I wasn't in the videos. So all you would see is the apartment and you would just hear my voice. And it kind of got to a point where I realized like, it's definitely good for people to see what I look like and like have more of a personality to like attach themselves to. So as soon as I did that, people started reaching out much more. Like people were way more qualified. All of a sudden, it's not just like random people.
And at what point did you realize that social media come together with real estate? Meaning you need them both.
I mean, listen, like, real estate, we're in sales, and sales at the end of the day is just marketing. So however you can, like people market in different ways. People run ads, people send they send flyers to people, you know what I mean? Right. So there's just so many different ways to market. And for me, I just found the social media thing where it's free, it reaches, I feel like, more people than any flyers would, you know what I mean? Like there's only so many flyers you can send out in a day, and I could post a video and it'll get whatever 500,000 views. Like you're not sending 500,000 flyers in a day, you know. Amazing. So that's never happening. And you know, and it's free and it's like real, and you're talking to like real people who are actually interested in stuff in real time. And so I just feel like in 2024 and moving forward, it's just the best way to market anything, like real estate, finance, like anything. It doesn't matter. Anything.
What role does technology play in your investment strategy, and what do you see going from here?
Yeah, I mean, listen, technology, like it really applies itself to everything I do. I mean, between obviously the different platforms that I use on social media, which are like super important, and they're basically like the heart of my business right now. But in terms of investments, I mean, there's a lot of platforms that are really good to use if you're actually looking to like invest in real estate. Right. You have like PropStream, Property Shark, like stuff like that.
Now, you shared before a good story about the social media, how it just blew and blew and blew. By the way, very nice story. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Share with me another story that you had in real estate.
Yeah.
A good story.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I could say, we could talk about like my first sale ever, like my first actual real estate sale. It was, he's a dentist, honestly, a great client. We're still in touch to this day. Honestly, he's a great guy. And, yeah, I mean, he reached out, I remember I think he was away, and he sent me a message on Instagram saying like that he's looking to buy an apartment. And usually, I deal with people who are looking to rent, because I the most apartments I show are rentals. So like, oh wow, like he's actually interested in like buying something. Like that's like cool. You know, I've never sold anything before. So I'm like, yeah, I could definitely help you out. What's your like budget? Like, where do you want to live? Like, what are things that you're looking for, in the property? And honestly, like he's a very smart guy, works very fast, told me exactly what he wanted. We try to, obviously it's New York, so there's not too much inventory out there, so you kind of have to work with what's available. Right. So we found him an apartment. He liked it, and honestly, like we started the paperwork like relatively quickly. Sent some offers out. We got the price down a little bit to something that he was more comfortable with. And yeah, I mean, pretty basic like real estate transaction, but I guess it's cool that he found me only through Instagram.
Right, so. Right. What advice would you give for a young professional that want to implement social media with real estate?
First of all, I would say don't waste time. Do it from day one. I wasted 6 months before posting my first video, and like looking back at it, I would just do it from day one. If you're ashamed, if you're embarrassed, if you're cringed out by it, honestly, like it's worth it, because at the end of the day, like you shouldn't care what people think, and like if you're trying to pursue something, go all in. Right. You know what I mean? And like post every day.
And how do you handle the competition?
I don't see it as I don't see myself as like competing with other people. Like I'm not like, obviously you are in the marketplace, but like that's not my mentality when I'm like working. Like, you know what I mean? Like I post because my style, it's like who I am, and like people who like me, they'll watch me for me, and like I'm not worried about what other people are like doing.
I gotta ask you a question, okay? Who was your mentor? Did you have a mentor? Did you have a network? How did you even think about it? Yeah, everybody has a mentor. You agree?
Yeah, for 100%. I mean, in terms of the real estate stuff, I mean, I have like a few mentors. I mean, I would consider you a mentor. I have an uncle who's a mentor. I have my real estate team leader, who's a huge mentor. He like guided me through this whole thing this entire time. And I mean, his name's Coco, and he's like, honestly, like beast of a guy, great, like real estate agent. And, I remember when I was going through that time where clients were just like rejecting, he would just tell me like, listen, just keep pushing. It'll come. And it came.
This is a success story. We always like to hear about the success story. We always also like to hear about failure, because believe it or not, the person that has it going has not had to make it happen. Sometimes they will fail and they come right back, and yeah, very fast and very even bigger and more successful than before. So we love to hear good stories. And last question I have for you: what do you see yourself now? In terms of your path, real estate path, social media, which one do you want to grow more, or do you want to continue to grow in both of them?
Yeah,
is there an end game?
There is an end game. I would definitely say that my number one priority is the social media stuff and kind of seeing how far I can take that. Obviously, I'm probably always going to show apartments, show rentals, and stuff like that because people just enjoy watching it, and I enjoy making the videos. So I really, it doesn't even really like feel like work to me. And but I think like the end goal is to really just invest into real estate, you know, and start doing that, and not have to really rely on the actual sales part as much. Just because I see that I want to be able to like control my income more.
Right.
Like if you're only in sales, it's a bit hard to really have control over your income.
Right.
So I definitely see myself transitioning slowly towards the investment side.
Certainly, we enjoy having you here, and I wish you all the best and a happy new year. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.